Hey, it's Dave from Dave's Decals here. We've gotten ready to do part 3 of my little video build series. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're learning something. Hope I'm able to teach you something. This one coming up, we'll be doing decals, putting them on. Show you how to put a clear decal on a dark colored building and all that good stuff. And a few other little things in there, building some signs and stuff. But anyway, hope you like it. Hope you enjoy it. Watch it. Again, if you got questions, leave them down below. If you got comments, anything, just drop me a line, let me know, leave a comment, subscribe. Hope you like it. Please check out my website, www.davart.net, davart.net, and roll them. Well, here we are at part 3, and I've gone ahead and done a little bit more work on this as far as painting goes, kind of toned down some of that mortar joints that I told you about. I'll put it on there kind of heavy so you can see it. But I've toned them down, kind of pulled a dry brush across and brought the highlighted brick out. I've gone ahead and started on the front, doing some of the detail. I don't know if you can see that or not. On the front, where I sort of highlight a few of the bricks. Get this where y'all can see it. Highlight just a few of the bricks here and there with different colors. I'll use burnt sienna, terracotta, barn red, Georgia clay, maybe a little gray, mix those in there, and I'll show you on one of those on what I do, because I just take a little brush like this, a little artist brush that's just got a fine, you see it, got a fine point on it, and just barely touch up the bricks just a little bit here and there, just random like we did on the stone. And I've already told you on excuse me, on this front part here how I did that with the gray and the gunmetallic and the black, and on this we've already covered all of that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a decal on. I've made some decals. I made a little decal sheet here for this set, and I don't know if I'm going to use all of these on it or not, but I might. I've already cut one out, and this one's on clear, and we're going to put it in the water and just let it soak for probably about a minute or so to come off of there, and then I'm not going to have you sit there and wait a whole minute. But I'll go ahead and put that in there, and it'll curl up, and as it's ready it'll begin to uncurl. And I lay this, I should have showed you, I lay it on here, and then I just take a silver pencil or a brown, it doesn't matter, whatever kind of pencil, this is what I happen to have, and I trace around the outside where it's going to go. And then I'm going to take it, I shouldn't have put that in there just yet, but it'll be alright, we can leave it in there. And as a matter of fact, I can just go ahead and take it out and let it start drying a little bit. Then I'm going to take some antique white, and where that decal is going to go, I'm going to get a little water here in my glasses, and where that decal is going to go, I'm just going to paint it white. And like I said, you know, I've told y'all before, I don't really worry a whole lot about how well this is covered up, because the white is going to be the white on the paper, because the paper is the white carrier right now. On the clear, anything that's white on the decals is actually clear. So I'm just going to take this, kind of splotch it on here some, and you don't have to use antique white, you can just use regular white, you can use it off-white. I like the antique white because I think it kind of gives the decal a little bit older look to it. And I may go ahead and mix a little bit of regular white in, especially about where's that going to go? It's going to go right along there, especially where the Coke symbols, the Coca-Cola is going to be. And we'll let this dry. I'll just sort of get some of the brush mark areas out some. And I'll let that dry. And when that gets dry, go ahead and put that back in there. We will come back and put our decal on. I'm probably going to just take a blow dryer here and speed this up a little bit, but we'll be back right after that. Alright, our paint's dry. I took a blow dryer to it. And our decal's been soaking. Probably been in there maybe a minute or so. And what I'm going to do on this, just lay it down here on the top. It's not hard. And sometimes on these what I'll do is I'll also put water where the decal is going to go, and I may still do that. It just kind of depends on how well this thing's wanting to slide around and maneuver. And these decals that I make are a little tougher than a lot of them. They're not going to rip up real easy on you like some of them do. See, mess it up. I'm going to put a little water on that just so I can show you a couple things with it. Try to get this thing laid on here nice and flat. I'm not going to go all the way to the top on it. I'll pull it down a little bit. If you get paint outside of your lines that you've done, if you made your lines too big or whatever, which I do occasionally, it's not a huge deal. This thing's still a little warm for where I was blow drying it, so it's kind of being not wanting to slide on me as much as I would like it to. Right now it kind of looks like it's done, but it's not up. There's a little problem that you encounter occasionally, but it's no big deal. It's easy to take care of. And fold mine over and actually unfold them, and you're okay. They're not going to rip on you. Now what I will do is I will start taking these before I put Solvaset or Microsol or whatever kind of decal setting solution you like to use. I use Microsol mainly because that's what I've got, and I'll start forcing these down. I'll get my thumb on here. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'll get my thumb on here and start rolling them and pushing that moisture out from underneath of it. Sorry about that, I thought I had one. Paper towel. And something you can do on my decals also, if I've got it handy here, and I don't see it, keep looking while I'm doing this. This is a time-consuming process on your bigger decals. Rolling this over, and what you're doing with your thumb or forefinger or whatever is you're forcing it. See if I can get it to show you. And this will work out better when I get the Solvaset on it. If you work out, see if I can see how that brick is starting to, underneath is starting to show up just a little bit. You're going to get that thing to conform to your brick. And another thing you can do, which I do, and I don't really want to do it on this one, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. And bring some of that white through. So you can take a little Brillo pad, and I don't remember what these are, 3/0, 4/0, something Brillo pad. A lot of decals, this will destroy, but not mine. And you can start kind of removing some of that paint, some of that dye on the decals, giving it a little bit, even an older look, making it look even more worn. This is not the best decal for this particular technique. But that's just to give you an example that you can take a Brillo pad to these before you even put this, before you put the solvacet on them or your decal setting solution, because once you do that they get too soft. And that's what we're going to do now. If I can remember where I left it sitting, I should have had it ready. There it is. Just solvacet where we at. Just solvacet. And we'll put this on here. Some people put it on the bottom, some people put it on the top. I put it on the top because of the way I do my decals. If you put it on the bottom, it starts softening it up right away. Remember, this is a clear decal, so that's why I did that painting on the bottom. But now it's starting to get soft. I'm going to start forcing it down some more, getting to conform that brick. You know, it's going to pick up the detail of the brick better or worse depending on how well the decal, how well the detail is on the piece you're working on. And I've got to look at it. I'm sorry I can't like get this up here to show you as well, because I've got to look at it and see what I'm doing. And you know, you're still going to have water in there. You want to force out. There's still going to be a little bit of water in there. The more of that water you force out, and sometimes you can actually see air bubbles and stuff moving over, water bubbles, the better you're going to have the details of your building come through your brick, come through your decal, and you'll see that brick on there, and it'll look like it's painted on the building, and it doesn't look like it's just sitting on the surface like a sticker, which I see a lot of models that people build, and you know, they do a really good, nice job. And you know, hey, whatever you like, it's your building. You do whatever you like. But I'll see that, and I'm thinking, man, looks like a sticker. Just look, it's sitting there, and I don't like that. That's just me. That's what I like. So then I may take the paper and get some of that off. And I'll keep doing this, and I'm not going to sit here and make you watch me when I do all of this until it dries. I'll keep doing this until it dries, basically forcing it down. Sometimes it takes a few minutes to do that, and I've taken some of the paint off on the edge here. Not a big deal, easy to fix. Solvacet will eat through that paint, because I don't, you know, some people spray them before they do decals. I don't, because I'm still going to do some more weathering and things, and I don't want that barrier between those two layers. But can you see that? That's what that looks like. And this was, you know, all clear. All this white was clear. You know, and I put more white right here than I did the off-white, and that kind of made this a little more darker and kind of brought the Coca-Cola out some. But let's see if I can get the right angle here. And you can see where the brick's starting to show up, and the little stars that I put on are showing up and things like that. So let this dry. I'm going to keep kind of forcing this thing down. Probably touch up this corner, because all this was a mixture of Georgia clay and earth brown. Easy to take care of that. Maybe go ahead and put some more decals on it or not, because that kind of gives you the idea of how to do a clear one, and then we'll come back and maybe do a white one or something. But that's, you know, a lot easier. Just basically same technique, just stick it on there. You don't have to paint the white. And if there's anything else, we'll get back to it. So talk to y'all later. Alright, let this thing dry. and get on here. And now what I've started doing is I went ahead and started on this. I didn't think about it, but I did a little dry brushing. I've touched up the corner where it got a little white on it, where I got something to paint off, and I go ahead and dry brush across the top real light with that Georgia clay and earth brown mix that I've got. Used it full strength, used a really dry brush with not a lot of paint in it, just bring it across. Just, I don't know if you can see that or not. I've started doing some other stuff I'm going to show you. Keep going the wrong way. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it kind of pops that brick out a little bit by giving it a bit of a white, give it a, you know, some of the red of the brick showing through. Then I take black, just, you know, regular black, just watering it down, and then I'm going to put it across the top here. Of this decal, and kind of give it some dirt, more or less. Put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. And again, you know, this all dries out a lot lighter than what it looks like when you first put it on. But what that black does, it goes down into the grooves of the brick and really helps give it that look of the brick on the decal. So it really kind of gives it more of a painted on look, because it looks like there's dirt gotten down into it. Let's see if you can, where are we at? You can see on that Coke decal, it starts to get down there. And again, I don't use the blow dryer to dry this. I just leave it laying flat, just like this. Let it air dry until it's completely dry. That way, because if you use a blow dryer or whatever to try to speed this up, try to expedite your drying, you're probably going to blow your paint out of your mortar joints, and then it's not going to show up quite as well. And I may just put one coat on this. I may put two. It depends on the overall aged look that I'm going for, and what the, you know, how old is this building? Is this a newer sign that was painted on not that long ago, or is it one that's been on there for a long time? And this building is going to be kind of set. I think I decided that what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to go with the Czech Cafe over here, and I've got those that set made up. Where are we at? Got that set made up. I'm going to do a sign with the Czech Cafe. I'm going to make this other one over here. Where are we at? I'm going backwards. With the what I'm going to call Club Atomic, and it's going to be like a punk rock bar and things for it from you know, late 70s, early 80s when punk was big, and some of those, and they kind of occupied a lot of these smaller ones like CBGBs and some of those places, if any of y'all into that. But so I'm going to make this one a punk rock bar. Normally, in reality, this would probably be all painted like the brick would be. I don't want to tilt this thing over, I don't want the paint to run. But normally this brick here would be painted like a solid color if it was in like real life, because they probably would have come in here and painted this all white or something, and then you're going to have posters and stuff stuck all over this. But I'm going to leave this here like this is natural brick. Make this the Czech Cafe, probably put a sign out front and a sign out back. Make this the Club Atomic with live music and you know, a lot of posters and things along those lines, and some other sort of stuff. But this is an old building. It's been converted into a diner that's been here for a long time. The diner's going to have a look like it's been there for a while, and then the club is going to be something that's going to be a newer edition that's just sort of popped up, and it's just one of those clubs that sort of lasts for a while and then goes away. There's so many of those. So let this dry. It's already started to dry pretty good, and I'm going to check that and see if it's as dark as I like it, and if not, I'll put another coat on, and then eventually I'm going to pull all the rest of this building in, weather and wise, to match this, and we'll get to that. But that's it. I'm putting a clear decal on and sort of giving it an aged look like it's painted on the building, as opposed to just a sticker sitting on there above the surface, and look at something that's a little bit more actually adhered to the building. It's not that much work. It's not that hard to do, and I sell these clear decals at my website, www.daveart.net. Just use the drop down menu, and instead of using the white, which is defaults out on most of them, just pick clear, and then we'll come back and do a little bit more work on this here in a little while. Talk to y'all later. Okay, I put a couple of coats on the decal. Touch up the corner, as I said. Now we're going to do a little finger painting, so to say. What I do, and you can do it either way you want, is when you put the black on, you're obviously, gosh, I keep going the wrong way. If you put the black on, you're obviously going to start covering up and making the all the letters darker. But if you want to give them some whiteness to them, one of the things you can do, get a little water on your fingers. A little spit works too. And then you come back and sort of just a random pattern. And what you're doing is you're taking that black paint that dried on top, taking that white paint that dried on top and pulling it off of the high points of the brick. That's why you want to try to get this pressed down into the brick as gosh, focus please, as much as possible, and trying to get this where I make sure it'll focus. Try to get that pushed down into the brick as much as possible. That way when you go back and you remove some of that black off of the high points, it shows the brick shape a little bit more, giving it more of that painted on look that I was talking about. So that's all I do to that. And I'll do it. If I take off too much, I'll go back and put it back on. It's like I've said earlier, you can always repaint it. It's not a big deal. And just kind of do this and hold it back and look at it and say, yeah, that looks all right. And then we'll start weathering the rest of the building and doing the signage and figuring out what we're going to go from there to kind of get this all bled in and looking right. I'll probably just put a light wash of another color on here to sort of neutralize everything and don't make it look as like such hard edges and stuff. But that's where we're at right now. If I can remember to move the right way, that's where we're at right now. And when we get done with that, if there's anything that I think you might be interested in hearing about, I'll get back. Another thing I'm going to do is I'll put little runs underneath all these little stars. You know how to do that, because these would, you know, in the real world, these would be cast iron. I've got some real ones, but they're at the other end of the house, and they're going to have a rusty color, and then they'll have a little bit of runs on it. Now, some people says, hey, you know, a couple of guys will go, I don't like putting that much weathering on my buildings. Well, then don't. I do. I like my buildings to be old and grungy and kind of urban, downtown, bad part of town, urban. That's the kind of stuff I specialize in. I can make a nice clean building if I want to, but I like the kind of rundown, bad parts of town. I guess I have an affection for that area. But that's where we're at. Just want to bring you up to date on where we're at and where we're going with this model that we're working on. I've already showed you, if I get this in the right light, I've already showed you how I've done this particular decal, and I've gone ahead and I've added this Eat Here decal. This one was on solid white. I just had to cut it out because that's what you got to do. You got to cut them out and put it on there. And I thought about doing all these little lights with fiber optics, and I got to counting them, and there's a bunch. And that would have been a tremendous amount of work and a whole lot of holes to drill in Hydrocal, so I kind of backed off that idea. I thought it'd be kind of cool. Originally, I was going to build a box for this to go on in the shape of this, and then maybe put lights, a light on the inside, but I opted not to do that. But what I did decide to do, as I'll show you here, is I built this little box. This is going to be the name of the name, Check. Let me there where you can see it. Check Cafe. Can you see it? It's not wanting to focus. I'm not sure what makes this thing focus. Anyway, right there, Check Cafe. and you can see I didn't do the decal on the back side just yet. And all it is just a little box that I built out of styrene with some just your basic clear window and white styrene. Not quite that thick. I believe it was this stuff here. And just build a little box and show you what it's going to look like here when we get it all lit up. The light moved a little further forward to me when I was gluing it in, so I wasn't real happy about that. But when we get it done, it'll be all lit up. And where it's going to go, I've already drilled a hole right here, and it's going to go through here. And I'll go ahead and take this off and show you. Just a kind of a quick mount here. And it did, you know, it was tedious to build that little box, but it wasn't a huge undertaking. Getting everything to fit just right, get the decal on there, and then sealing it down. I just sealed it down with some dull coat in the bottle. You know, just not the spray kind. And that way it stayed out. But this is going to go right there on our little building like that. And I'm going to take a wire, I'm going to drill a little hole in the top and a hole right here and kind of make your, I don't know if you can see that or not, make your little support that's going to go on it. Originally my idea was to use the wires, come out of the top with the wires and then kind of split them off and use them as supports on the corners. You can see what I'm doing? Something like that coming out, but they're too thick and I just decided not to go with that idea and just go basically with a little piece of floral wire and fix it up like that. I've also made these decals. These are all in that same set I showed you earlier, the Atomic Club Atomic, and I'm going to build a box for it also, and I'm going to mount it up a little higher right along here. I'm going to put an awning on these. I've already started putting some decals on the front, just a few, a little one for public telephone, ATM, open 24 hours. Then this will probably get some treatment with some assorted posters and signs, since it's going to be a club. And over here on this side, you can see this decal that I've kind of weathered down originally started out like that one right there, that slits decal. Now, this was on clear, so I just kind of barely painted this in off-white, just to give it a little bit of whiteness. And then as I showed you earlier, I took a little bit of the Brillo pads or rubbed it down and then weathered it in to kind of give it an age look. And then, like, the guys came back in from slits later and said, hey, listen, our painting's looking kind of shabby. We want to put a new one on there. And instead of going ahead and painting one back like they had, they just went ahead and went with a new one and went there. That's kind of that. And then we're going to have live music in there. And on the back, I've started on that. Got our little Club Atomic right there, and our office. It's a neat, looks like a little neon sign sort of thing. Go on ahead and weather this down. Put some runs on here. I may tone those down a little bit. They're kind of dark, but I may tone them down just a hair, and might put a few more decals. I don't know if I'm going to do, you know, like my graffiti. I don't know if I'm going to do any graffiti on this one or not. It's probably just going to have a lot of club posters for punk bands running around here and here. And I've still got a few. I even have you know, the Atomic Club. They've even got their own beer because I made some atomic beer signs there. And so I'm going to put those probably on one of the back or the front. And like I said, I'm going to do a short awning here, and I've got some smaller live music that they're going to go on the awning down here in the front or on the sides, wherever, one on the side on that. Still got a few more decals for these sets. Got another slits. I'm probably going to put that one back here between these two windows. It'll fit there. Probably this Falstaff, since you know, this is an older club and or a older cafe over here. Probably put a Falstaff over here. These are on clear, so probably going to weather the Falstaff down. May make the slits bright. I don't know, but probably like it was painted about the same time this one was. make it bright. Remember, when you take these off of the clear paper, anything that's white on here is going to be clear. So you have to paint the background and just watch the first part of the video on how I did that one and you'll know. But got our little sign made. I'm going to put the decal on the back side of that and get it mounted up. Going to make another one with for the Atomic Club, and like I said, it's just made out of just some clear acetate and some, no, that's not it, but I cut it. I had some extra cut off here somewhere. I can't find it right now. Here it is. Just some little styrene that's been cut, and you're just gonna glue that up all the way around and make your box and put it all together. It'll be kind of neat, give it a little bit of character. And then I'm going to divide this up between the floors, and I've got some flashing lights on this first two levels. You're probably not going to see these windows much because of the awning, so they'll mainly be on this one. That's why I'm going to go ahead and leave it like it's maybe open all the way to the second floor. So you got some flashing red, blue, green lights in here, and then put up maybe a warm white or a yellow up here with some little peeps and some furniture, silhouettes in the windows. Same deal over here, except this one is going to be, because you don't really have any more windows on this building right here. This is all you've got is in the front. So any lighting that you do on this building is going to come out the front. And so we're probably going to put some peeps or furniture here, like you got a cafe down here on the bottom floor, and then on the next floor up you got people that are, you know, crashing out and renting a place, getting a little flat. May put see that there, right there, that little black one. That's a apartment for rent, unfurnished apartment, or furnished apartment. I don't remember which one it is. Doesn't really matter. Unfurnished for rent. Put that one over here on the side of this building. Do a little more weathering on this. Bring it all down into a nice even color. And that's where we're at. So I'm going to kind of do that. If there's anything you know, that I really think that you kind of want to see, or if you've got questions on something you want to see, just leave me a message, and you know, if I've already passed that point, I can do it again on something else and bring it up. But like I say, I mainly showed you how to do this one on with clear decal paper. So if you get this one down, then the rest of these are just gravy. I mean, you know, you just cut them out, put them on there, squeeze them down. And like I say, if you get them down real good, and it's pretty late at night here right now, so I'm not getting any light in the windows, so I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying to get this at the right angle. You can see you got some texture there on the bricks where I've done those, and you can kind of see the texture coming through on the bricks. Oh, that's another thing I want to talk about real quick. Some of these decals, like this one that I made, the slits, the bricks on it aren't the same size, and they're kind of not even going at the same angle as what's on the building. So if you put the decal on there by itself, it kind of, you know, it may not look just exactly right if you're real particular about that. So, but if you follow what I told you about putting these decals on and pressing this in really, really hard and getting that texture to come through from the bottom, and then you go back and you do a wash on it, either in black or in white. Like I say, you can rub that off the top of them where your high points are at. It'll fill in, like on this one, it'll fill in where the bricks are at on your model on top here, and it'll look like it fits perfectly, like the bricks that are on the decal are actually. And that's what I said, talk about getting that painted look, like it's been painted on, because the bricks will match up all the way across here, because you're not going to get decals where you can get every single brick to match every single brick on a model. It's just not going to happen. So you kind of got to trick it, and that's one way of doing it. And so I'm going to work on this a little bit more. Probably going to put a TT Train Group far escape right here. I'll show you that when I get to it, when we get to the next video, and that's going to be on detailed parts of stuff. But I'm going to finish up the decals and any sort of little touch up on the paint that I've got to do. And I think this is going to be about the end of part 3. And I thank y'all for watching. Again, I'm Dave. You can check my website out, www.daveart.net. That's DAVART.net. I'll put that on the screen. And subscribe if you will. And tune in for the next one. And hopefully we will get this thing done in maybe 1 or 2 more, because I'm gonna detail this thing out, not tremendously, but pretty good. So it'll look like a pretty cool little building. Like I say, I'll finish these decals up, and then we'll work on the windows. And I'll probably go ahead and get the awnings built. We can do those awnings and then talk about the lighting and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.